Very seldom do liberals and conservatives agree on anything unless it comes to the integrity of journalist Glenn Thrush. Just the mere mention of his name causes a reflexive snicker to come out. The beginning of his rise to become a household name began at a website called Politico. Now, Politico, when they first came out, was a well-trusted and source of information that was nonpartisan. If you got into a political discussion on a website and someone sourced them in their commentary, it was trusted to be reliable. Then, a couple of years ago, they took a hard left turn, and Glenn Thrush was like the General Custer who led them into ridicule to end their credibility, and their website is now considered partisan garbage compared to Media Matters and the Huffington Post. When you see him, he is always pictured wearing a hat in which he wants to give the impression that he has the ruggedness of an Indiana Jones. However, once he starts talking and giving his viewpoints, you realize he actually has more in common with a combination of Dora the Explorer and Daffy Duck. He became a national household name when WikiLeaks published John Podesta's email, and he was featured in one of the most famous exchanges that will never be forgotten. He was doing a story on John Podesta and asked him to proofread the article and make any changes he feels necessary before he publishes it. Sounds too crazy to be true? Well, here it is.
OTR, which stands for off the record. No problems here. On April 30th, 2015 at 3 p.m. from Glenn Thrush. No worries, because I have become a hack. Can you believe it? He admits he's a political hack. I will send you the whole section that pertains to you. Then he tells him, please don't share or tell anyone I did this. Tell me if I effed up anything. Pretty classy guy, eh?
Well, needless to say, around this time period when this email scandal was made public, a series of strange events began taking place. Glenn Thrush ended up leaving Politico, and despite the public's knowledge of his biased and partisan leanings, the New York Times decided he was our man and needed to be employed by their company. Not only that, they promoted him to be their White House reporter who was to sit in on the daily briefings and once again make a spectacle of himself with his biased stories and commentary, in which I will play you a brief clip to show you what I am talking about.
That he was just looking into this whole matter. He, according to John Roberts, his own reporting, just said that neither of those individuals as described in your paper's reporting are accurate. So I would dispute several of the pieces of that. And then as far as him roaming around the White House, no, I understand this, but you, again, you jump to a ton of conclusions about, and again, I love watching some of these shows where they jump to conclusions for all, hold on.
Several times prejudged the investigation is clearing the White House. You've said it twice at the podium today.
Right. So what I'm saying is, because I'm focused on the substance of this, Glenn, I'm actually, right, and so where's any of the reporting been in your paper about Evelyn Faucus and her revelation that this is what they sought to do? Where has been the reporting in your paper that NBC News just recently covered that other officials? You seem to be really focused on who showed up where and what door they went in and how it happened.
In this age that we now live in today, in which journalists hold the distinction of being the least trusted profession, the New York Times and Glenn Thrush are leading the way.
Many of them. I'm making this presentation directly to the American people with the media present, which is an honor to have you. This morning, because many of our nation's reporters and folks will not tell you the truth and will not treat the wonderful people of our country with the respect that they deserve. And I hope going forward we can be a little bit different and maybe get along a little bit better if that's possible. Maybe it's not, and that's okay too. Unfortunately, much of the media in Washington, D.C., along with New York, Los Angeles in particular, speaks not for the people, but for the special interests and for those profiting off a very, very obviously broken system. The press has become so dishonest that if we don't talk about it, we are doing a tremendous disservice to the American people. Tremendous disservice. We have to talk about it. to find out what's going on, because the press honestly is out of control. The level of dishonesty is out of control.
The public doesn't believe us anymore?